everybody. Welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinsel.
And we just got back from a crazy weekend at Pocono Raceway. But before we get into all of that, let's get into our diecast of the week. Nick, what'd you bring for us?
All right, well, fresh off of a terrific Pocono weekend for Matt DiBenedetto and the 21 team, I've got the 2020 his Motorcraft Ford Fusion.
That's a Mustang.
Ford Mustang, my bad. I get them mixed up sometimes, but yep, the Pearson colors, sexy looking race car, and it had two very good finishes this past weekend. I was very pleased.
Oh yeah.
Just like the Chicago Blackhawks uniforms, it's simple, perfect, and the best looking out there week in and week out.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Mike, what you got for us today?
All right, boys. We're going to the Brickyard. Unfortunately, other than Jeff Gordon, and I can't really seem to get my hands on many of his Brickyard race wins. I want to go another route this week. It is the 4th of July weekend, so I went with my most America NASCAR diecast, the Dale Earnhardt Jr., number 8, Stars and Stripes from 2007. I can't remember off the top of my head what race he raced this in. Ian, I figured you'd know because you have the same diecast.
I want to say that was Daytona in the summer.
I want to say that probably sounds right.
Yeah,
but,
it's either that or Chicagoland. Actually, I don't know if that was Chicago. It was some big summer race around the 4th of July, most likely.
Yeah.
Daytona.
Well, that was one of my first diecasts when I started collecting. I found a site. I got a bunch of Dale Earnhardt Jr. cars for like dirt cheap on. That one's actually an Elite. I bought it for like $23. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a steal right there.
That's what I'm saying. And like I said, with it being 4th of July weekend, that being the Stars and Stripes car, no brainer.
All right. All right, boys. So for my diecast of the week, since we're going to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I had to bust out one of my holy grail diecasts. It's Kevin Harvick's Brickyard win from last season, and we had the pleasure of being at that race. It was incredible. I got to see my favorite driver win in person for the first time, and just an absolute beauty. I love the new Mobil 1 paint scheme with the flames on there. It's just so gorgeous.
Yeah, that one blows away the white Mobil 1 car.
Oh,
no
that
doubt.
car was so ugly.
And
listen,
great to have a diecast from a race that you were at. It's always a cool feel to have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And as much trash as people talk about Indy and the racing there, despite seeing a bunch of our guys battle for the lead all day, that race was awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we had Harvick and Blaney going head to head. We were freaking punching each other like, oh, let's go. That was exciting, man. And we saw Bubba Wallace finish third. What a great race.
I'm kind of glad that there are no fans being allowed at Indy this weekend because I checked the weather, 93 degrees the entire weekend. And that's not even probably the real feel. We thought Chicagoland was hot, but my goodness, that one we'd be sweating balls out there.
Pray for those drivers in those cars.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's gonna be like 150 degrees inside those cars. Ooh, lordy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no doubt, yeah.
But before we get into Indy this week, let's talk about Pocono. We just got out of Pocono Speedway this past weekend, and we started off with the Pocono 325. We were supposed to have the truck race that afternoon, but it got rained out, so they moved it to Sunday morning. So starting off with the Pocono 325 with the Cup Series, we had Eric Almirola winning the pole from a random drawing, and he actually held his ground this time.
Yeah,
he
the 10 car was good all weekend long, so yeah, he had some good speed for sure.
Yeah, it seemed like with this track, almost, I don't say regardless of your equipment, but we did see a bunch of guys that normally don't stick up front, use some strategy plays, because as we know, Pocono race is a lot like a road course where strategy is kind of paramount. But we saw guys up there that wouldn't normally be leaders, that aren't really in top equipment, get up front and be able to hold it, which usually doesn't happen. Almirola, I mean, he's in good equipment, but Bubba did a couple times. Corey LaJoie got to the front of the pack for a little while there. It was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. That clean air helps you a lot at Pocono.
Oh, yeah. And no real tire fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so early starting off, we got 9 to go in stage 1. We got Quinn Half spinning in turn 1, hitting the wall hard. Not a good look for Starcom Racing. I still don't really get why they signed. I mean, yeah,
There hasn't
money.
been
That's why they
there,
signed Quinn Houff, but
there hasn't
you're
been a
not going to get another
single
driver like Landon Castle. Come
there
on.
hasn't been a single good look for Starcom Racing all year. It's disappointing because they were okay with Lanny Castle behind the wheel, but now we got a guy in here doesn't really know what he's doing. It's just embarrassing to see what happened to this team in just a few races this season.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a obviously we understand what they're doing, what they have to do to stay afloat and to kind of, try to make their way through the NASCAR hierarchy as far as teams go. Especially at that end of the field, money is paramount. But man, they would just seem like they were way, way better positioned with Landon and behind the wheel.
Oh, no doubt. And Joey Logano, he goes on to win stage 1. And then we got 6 to go in stage 2. And Eric Jones kind of checking up in turn 3 for Kurt Busch. And Tyler Reddick gets right into him. They collect and they both go hard into the wall. Eric Jones went up in the air a little bit. That was a hard hit for those boys right there.
That was a scary one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Eric Jones' wheels coming off the ground. That was one. Thank God for safer barriers, because if that was 15, 20 years ago, who knows?
And guys, we had Eric Almirola going on to win stage 2. He was showing lots of speed in this race.
It was a really good day for him. He stayed up front, did what he needed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one of those days. We've kind of had our conversations on the show before about Eric Almirola. This weekend, one of those things that makes you think, hey, maybe he stays around. Maybe things are turned around over at the 10 team, because they seem to be finally firing on all cylinders here.
Yeah, they've been looking good the past few weeks. So, yeah, who knows? Eric, he's still fighting for possibly a spot because, well, he's pretty good with his Smithfield sponsorship. But, that doesn't save you a ride.
4 straight top 5 finishes for the guy. He's really starting to heat up here when he needs to. So I expect to see good out of Eric Almirola the rest of the way.
Oh, yeah. And guys, Kevin Harvick, he was having lots of trouble throughout this race. He was complaining over his radio. He couldn't turn the car. Nothing was working for him. Finally goes and plays some strategy. They make some adjustments, and then he ends up being the fastest car out there and finally gets his win at Pocono. Now he's just got one more track to check off of his list.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good for Harv. He's been racing at Pocono for 19 years now, and he finally gets to check it off the list. This was an interesting race for me, honestly. It was just kind of lacking for me. I just think that Pocono can be a good racetrack. We've seen it in the lower series. It's just they got to figure out a good package for the Cup cars, because I don't know. To me, it was kind of like whoever has to clean air, it doesn't really matter who it is. They're going to take off, and it was ridiculously hard to pass, especially in the Pocono 325. So Pocono's got potential, but this race just didn't have it for me.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Look, with this current package running in NASCAR right now, there's certain racetracks that's going to run super well at. And there's certain ones it just isn't going to put on good racing, and Pocono is one of those racetracks. Nick, you hit the nail on the head. You just couldn't pass. You could get to the leader, and then that just sputter out. And especially if, God forbid, anybody had to burp the throttle for any reason whatsoever, it was game over. You were losing 2-3 positions. And it was another one of those races where, like we said, it was very similar to a road race. So strategy and track position were key. I have mixed feelings on that myself, but to each their own in that category. But it left a little bit desired to me on the Saturday race. I thought Sunday was a little bit better.
Yeah, that's fair. But man, on that final lap, I was getting a little nervous with Denny Hamlin come up. Even though I know it was hard to pass, I was still getting a little anxious. But hey, he finally did it. And like I said, I've been killing it with my diecast of the week because I'm still over at Abby's family's house. I brought this over last week, and then he ends up winning this race. And then, I brought over Blaney's, and he won Talladega. So I've just been on a roll lately.
You want to go ahead and put a Blaney car out like every week, bud?
Yeah, sure. I only got 3.
Hey, I'll take 3 more wins.
Yeah, right? All right, guys. So we go into Sunday morning, 8:30 in the morning for us in the Midwest. Starting off with the Truck Series race, we got the Pocono 150. We had Johnny Sauter winning the pole from a random drawing. And then we get a caution on lap 1 for Cody Robaugh sliding up the track and getting into Matt Crafton, both receiving heavy damage and ending their day early. Guys, that's got to suck on lap 1. You know, you get no practice at all and just straight into turn 1, and your day is just over like that. Pack up the bags and head back to North Carolina.
Yeah, was this the Pocono 150 or the Wreckfest 150? Because the first stage was ridiculous in no good way at all. Like, that was kind of embarrassing. I personally was asleep during the race, but yeah, from what I heard, it was quite the jokester of a NASCAR race.
Yeah. Like Nick, I did not make it up for most of this race. I saw about the second half of it, but what I saw in that second half and what I read about in the first half of that race, yikes. Just a weird track for the trucks to be at too.
Oh yeah, you know those trucks.
Practice.
Yeah,
Those guys need practice.
Yeah, exactly. Because those trucks, like, you know, it's already crazy racing with the truck series, and then we put them on Pocono. Oh my God, yeah, it's going to be a wreck fest.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep, and then continuing on with the wreck fest, we get a caution on lap 6 with Rafael Lassard getting into the grass in turn 2, slides up the track, and he takes out Austin Wayne Self. Just more mistakes by these young guys on the tricky triangle.
Exactly. Tough track. So, like we were saying, if you don't have experience here, especially in those turns and what the G's are like coming out of a corner exit there, I mean, it's easy to get the back end loose from a lot of things I've heard from other drivers. So if you don't have experience with that, tough place.
Right.
Exactly. And guys, it continues on. We got 4 to go in stage 1, and Ty Majeski gets into the wall after contact with Grant Enfinger after trying to block Grant Enfinger, and it just didn't really work out for Ty, and got into the wall and ended his day early as well.
Yeah, craziness, man. All of this in stage 1.
Yep.
That first stage seemed like it lasted the whole weekend.
Yeah, for real. And we get Sheldon Creed going on to beat out Austin Hill to go on and win stage 1. And then Sheldon Creed also goes on to win stage 2 as well. So he was really showing some speed in this race.
Yeah, you know, with the way this season's gone, there's been times where Sheldon Creed's looked like one of the better trucks in the series. So he's a guy he could make a deep playoff run. We're just going to have to wait and see. But, you know, he's shown his little flashes where he shows he's a damn good driver in the series.
Exactly. All right, we got 26 to go, and we get Fogelman getting hit by Tanner Gray in turn 3 after Gray sliding up the track. Just more mayhem on the tricky triangle, and we get 12 to go, and Christian Eckes spins by himself while leading the race with a tire going down. That's just got to be the worst feeling. You're leading the race, and it's your own truck that takes you out of the race.
Not a good day for the 2 KBM trucks running for points. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Yikes. What a helpless feeling, though, being the leader, having a tire go down, just having nothing you can do about it. Your race is just gone like that. That's got to be one of the lowest in the sport right there.
Oh, yeah, man. That's just got to suck. But KBM did get a W with Brandon Jones holding off Sheldon Creed to get his first career Truck Series win. Now, who would have thought that Brandon Jones would get an Xfinity win before a Truck Series win? But I thought he already had a Truck Series win, but good for him.
Too bad I can't congratulate him. Apparently.
Who picked him? Who picked Brandon Jones to win this race?
Yeah, good pick. I mean, he's always running up front in those Truck Series races. I'm surprised this is his first win.
Well, he's running the KBM 51 truck. That is like he's like running the Mach 5 out there. Like, that's the best part of the track, man.
But that's the truck he's always in. That's the truck he's been in for the past 3 seasons whenever he's ran like his one-off races.
And he usually finishes second. Now he finally gets himself a win. So yeah, but yeah, still 2 of their championship running trucks did not have the best of days.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good for Brandon Jones. I wish I could congratulate you, but man, you still got me blocked on Twitter.
And
So
also that celebration lasted all of 12 minutes.
yeah, we will get into that with the Pocono 225. And guys, again, for the fourth time this year, Noah Gregson wins the pole from a random drawing. He's just been killing it with those.
Rigged.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And guys, the Truck Series winner, Brandon Jones, on lap 1, gets spun by Austin Cindric, hits the wall, ending his day. You just got to go, like you said, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows.
I'm going to go ahead and guess he still had champagne in his eyes from that victory celebration. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that sucks, man. Like you said, just winning your first truck race, when you're going to turn around. And I guarantee you he's going into that thinking, all right, man, just got to have a big win. I'm going to come out here and run really well. And just, what are you going to do?
Well, look at what we got wrecked by. I'm not too surprised.
No, I'm not either. And guys, cautions breeding, more cautions. We get a caution on lap 5 for Josh Williams getting loose, hitting the wall. Joe Graff Jr. was involved as well. Just
got a little help on that one. He got a little help from somebody I know very well.
Here we go.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh Williams.
That's a big oops right there. And 6 to go in stage 1. Cautions breed more cautions, guys. Harrison Burton gets loose into turn 1, but this was from oil on the track. I can't remember whose car was leaking oil, but it was all over turn 1, the exit of turn 1 there. And so he ended his day getting into the wall. And Austin
Brandon Brown car.
That was Brandon Brown.
Yeah. And that was like the big controversy in the race was you saw a couple of guys self-spin and there were a lot of people not talking on Twitter and about the radio chatter saying drivers have been seeing that on the track for laps upon laps upon laps. And NASCAR is kind of, I don't know if they turned a blind eye or what exactly the situation was. I can't really place blame when I don't know. But all I know was just a handful of laps later that Brandon Brown machine was out of the race for what was it, lack of oil? Like didn't the motor blow up or something?
Yeah. Oh my God. And then Cindric, he goes on to win stage 1, and Dash for Cash contender Alex LeBay got into some of that oil that they still left on the track, and he spun and got into the wall exiting turn 1. So kind of hurting his splitter there and kind of basically ruined his chances for that $100,000, which would have been huge for that team.
That's so disappointing because could you imagine somehow, some way that team gets $100,000, what that can do for the race team? I was pulling for him, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the better feel-good stories of the Xfinity race. Would have been really, like you said, Nick, could you imagine what a team of his stature could do with that much money?
Right? Yeah, they would really improve that car. And then, guys, we got Justin Allgaier going on to win stage 2. Some good points for the Junior Motorsports number 7 car. And we got a caution with 42 to go. Some controversy here. Justin Haley spins out Riley Herbst after Herbst gets into Haley's corner, his corner panel. Guys, I'm going to say this. We're talking about Riley Herbst every week now. He's always getting involved in some kind of mess.
Yeah. This one, I will not put this one on Riley Herbst. This was Justin Haley full on sending that thing right into Herbst. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We saw him get parked there. Yeah, exactly. We saw him get parked there for rough driving, which, like you said, Ian, a big controversy. Wasn't that long ago we heard all about boys have at it, and here we are parking guys for rough driving. I don't disagree with the call, though. It was blatant as day what Justin Haley was doing there. But my thing is, you go back and look at it. It's not like Riley Herbst didn't have it coming. You're running a guy like that long enough.
It was about time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He had it coming, man. Yeah, but if I was Haley, I wouldn't have given it if they parked me because I just came off a big win from Talladega.
Hey, watch your language, man.
Well, that and all I was gonna say to that effect is there's a way to do it. There's a way to dump a guy and spin him and not make it look like, hey, I completely turned left to spin this dude.
Yeah. You got to make it look like an accident.
Yeah, Yeah, where you make it look like, hey, man, just one of them racing deals. So,
Well,
Right.
honestly, that kind of did hurt Justin Haley because he was in the running for the Dash for Cash and he was running well and he took himself out of that, so he kind of screwed himself. But yeah, that was the most obvious thing I've ever seen in my life. So he definitely deserved to be parked there because it was too obvious. But yeah, right, old Riley Herbst. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt this time, but can't say he didn't have it coming.
You got to do the old Noah Gragson handbook of taking people out and make it look like an accident.
oh, he's the king at that.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that here in about 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. And well, we're actually going to get into it right now.
Are we?
And we got a caution with 38 to go. Noah Gragson gets spun by Myatt Snyder. Noah Gragson, he just tried to block Snyder one too many times. You can see Snyder got a little bit aggravated, and maybe aggravated from something in the past, maybe somewhere in Sin City or something, and just took out Noah. And then basically the whole field followed through with Justin Allgaier, Daniel Hemrick, everyone involved. And yeah, a little retaliation worked out for Myatt Snyder, but I was a little pissed off.
Oh,
You were a
yeah.
little pissed off, bud. I was a little pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that happening right away. And as soon as Noah, I was like, oh, the 9 spinning. I was like, oh, we have a chance. And then boom, nope, 8 cars coming right back up the racetrack. This is the story of my goddamn season, man. Always getting taken out, always being the innocent man here. And yeah, that one stung because we were a top 5 car all day again. The dude needs to win a race to prove himself now. And yeah, he's yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I was not happy after that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
It seemed to me it was one of those things where, Noah's trying to clear himself up, try to put a block on a couple times. And, towards the end of the race, you kind of understand what he's trying to do there to a degree. But at the same time, I think you almost got to understand, like, who that is. Like, hey, there's some bad blood here. He's not going to give me the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not going to sit here and say for sure that Myatt Snyder, did it on purpose and meant to wreck Noah Gragson. But I will say this, I don't think he had any lost sleep over it either. So
No,
I don't
no
think he
way
was
in
too
hell.
mad about the way that all played out either. So
No, there was a smile under that mask after the race.
Justin Haley, take notes. That's how you do it right there. Besides taking out half the field, to me, that's kind of a bit of a no-no, and that's where it gets a little eesh. But, it's one of those things we still can't say for sure exactly what happened. I've seen the replay 10 million times. So
right.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with all of this had the 8 car not have been involved. But that's Pocono. We're all
and 7.
Yeah.
So all of our guys are involved in that.
So are you guys going to join the Hate Myatt Snyder group with me?
Nah, Mike's a pretty cool dude, actually. I talk to him on Twitter every once in a while. So.
He had that one. You can't even say that.
I know. I'm
that
just
one coming.
I'm
You
just
can't even say that.
I know. That's what happens when you're a fan of an aggressive driver. Now I know how my dad was rooting for Earnhardt back in the day.
Yep. Hey, it's gonna happen, man. Part of the deal.
Exactly, but you know what? I love his aggressive driving style, man.
It's paid off for him. I mean,
Exactly. So let's get back into the race. We got 22 to go, and Briscoe is leading. Guys, another leader spinning by themselves because of a tire going down. Just very strange incidents happening here at Pocono with the leaders.
yeah, but this is the Xfinity Series. I had a feeling Chase Briscoe, with 22 laps to go in the race at a track like Pocono, that's like bread and butter for him. Of course, he's going to get back up to the front. So I honestly was not too worried about him after I saw he had no damage.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Nick, that's right in his wheelhouse, this kind of racetrack, this kind of strategy race. So you knew when he came out of that rather unscathed, he was still going to be a contender. So
just because at that point, all the big front runners were out of the race to go up there and really challenge anybody until he got up to Ross. So yeah,
right.
he had a smooth sailing ride back up to the front.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it worked out for him. He got to the lead. He gave Chastain a bump and run to take the lead and get the win at Pocono. Guys, Chase Briscoe is on fire this year.
Yeah, he said he wanted to go. He had to go out and win 10 races, and I really think he could do it.
Oh, it's possible.
It's possible, and dare I even say probable.
Him and Gregson are the top of the Xfinity Series right now. It's either one or the other is going to win in this series. So, yeah, that was a good race. That was a good ending, too, the bump in the run, because we know Ross Chastain in his aggressive style, he would have done the exact same thing. So, that's a good hard racing right there.
Well, because even with this Xfinity package, which is, in my opinion, the most entertaining package, it was still really hard to pass for the lead here.
Oh, yeah.
So if you were going to go up and get the lead, I don't know if you could have done it cleanly. So it was kind of one of those situations of how bad do you want it? And I think, Chase handled himself as professionally as possible doing it too. He moved him up, didn't cost Ross's race, didn't put him in the wall in the fourth row or anything like that. Just bumped him up a lane and pardon me, sir, coming through and went over and got it.
Yeah.
As Timmy Hill will say, he just gave him the boot scoot boogie, man.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Congrats to Jesse Little, Stock Car Spec alum, on his first career Xfinity Series top 10.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sir.
Great to see Jesse. Congrats, buddy.
Oh, yeah. And also, congrats to Keegan Leahy on winning the iRacing Coca-Cola Series race at Indy last night. It was good to have him on. And, guys, if you haven't checked out that interview, make sure to check it out.
Yeah, one of my favorites we've done for sure. He's a great guy, really good interview, and one hell of a racer.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys, so let's get into the Pocono 350. It was the second Cup Series race at Pocono Raceway, and we had Austin Dillon leading the field to green after the field inversion because Ryan Preece was actually supposed to have the pole, but they brought him to the back because of an engine swap. So, guys, early cautions at Pocono. We got a caution on lap 15 from Michael McDowell having a rear tire go down and getting into the wall hard.
I got a little help on that one, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then right away, we got Kurt Busch going on to win stage one. Some great points for the number one team. They really need it. They really need a win this year. I'm surprised they don't have one yet this year.
Yeah, I am too, and I thought this was a really good racetrack for him. I kind of talked about it in our preview show and on the Gamblers Picks. This is a track he's got multiple wins in his career. The Chevys with that new nose I thought were going to be really fast here, even though this was a track that's usually dominated by the Toyotas. But I thought this could have been a really good prospect for that number one team getting that first win of the year.
Oh, yeah. And we got a caution on lap 40 for Christopher Bell, getting loose and hitting the wall hard.
That's disappointing. Top 5 run in the first race to have it end early here.
Yeah, he could have racked up some big points in those two races to help out that 95 team.
All right.
Yeah, that just sucks. And 10 to go in stage 2. We get a little controversy here. We get Ryan Blaney getting to the rear of Kyle Busch. He spins the 18, ending his day. But it looked like, Kyle Busch had to kind of slow up for Garrett Smithley there, and that's how Blaney got into him. But, oh boy, did Rowdy Nation blow up.
Well, listen, here's the thing. When I first saw it, my thought was exactly that too. He dives in, Garrett Smithley kind of holds him up. It's really hard, especially obviously these cars don't have brake lights. So, their depth perception, and you got to make those decisions like that at the speed these guys are driving at. Somebody goes that slow. And, again, we're talking about how difficult it was to pass. If you're Ryan Blaney, you almost have to take a chance there and, try to dive down and take the position, because at that point in the race, we were almost thinking that could end up being the race deciding pass right there, who goes on to win the race. But I don't know if either one of you fine gentlemen caught Radioactive this week. Apparently, Mr. Blaney was not too happy with the way Rowdy was racing him, kept chopping his nose off. And thing I know about Ryan Blaney, he's a pretty tough dude to really piss off to the point where he's going to wreck you and really not give a shit if he does.
Hey, watch your language, man.
So I don't remember really seeing much of what happened that led up to it, but man, Blaney was pissed.
He said on his radio, if I get back to him, I'll wreck him. 12er got Kyle Busch and Garrett Smith just don't have a good track record.
All right, I got to say something about it. Just so you know, Nick, you just lagged out and made it sound so dramatic. If I get back to him, I'm racking up. As we know, Ryan Blaney said a little faster than that, but you definitely hit the dramatic tone with your delivery there, bud.
Dude, I'm on my data, so I honestly don't know what the problem is.
Dude, all of our internets are taking a crap today.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was a really good one.
Has it been like it the entire show?
No.
Just here and there at times. Nothing too crazy. If you ever see me and Ian both making a smirk at the same time, that's probably why.
I noticed it earlier, and I was like,
yeah.
I said wasn't that funny. Come on.
No, that was the worst part. So.
Yeah. Oh. All right, getting back into it. Guys, crazy move by Bubba Wallace trying to avoid the 37 of Ryan Preece and almost getting into the wall there and even taking that little hop right there. That was awesome. Great driving by Bubba.
Yeah, drove it all the way down to the inside, damn near back into the garage area so far down on the apron there. Hits that little grate, gets some air over the back end, come down, and man, his radio was gold after that. You'd have think he just jumped the General Lee or something with the way he was talking and stuff. And my favorite was for his spotter, Freddie Kraft. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It really wasn't that close. He made it by about 1.5 feet. He comes back at him with, I like to see you try, big man. So Bubba's radio is always really, really funny to listen to, especially when stuff like that happens. He's comedic gold on his race chat usually.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite Bubba radio moments is when he was singing on the radio, and then his crew chief goes, "Hey, we lost about 4 or 5 spots, past 10 laps with you singing." He's like, "Oh well, I guess I'll stop having fun." Yeah, Bubba's great on the radio. Oh my, you always got to tune into him on there.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite drivers, and his radio is one of the many things I love about Mr. Darrell Wallace Jr. So
hey, show much how dedication you have for Bubba.
Oh
Wallace.
Yeah, so for the fans at home that may not have seen this, we got a little something done this weekend with everything going on with Bubba. I felt like it was probably a more appropriate time than ever to show my support in the most permanent way possible. Got this done right here. Little Bubba Wallace Speed Shop logo. For those of you that don't know, Bubba's got his own clothing line, and that's the logo right there, the BW, and you always see him giving the rock and roll fist. So I got that done along with my girlfriend. She got the same one. Her favorite driver is Bubba. So like I said, I felt like it was a perfect time to do it with everything going on. So yeah, it was really cool. It's my first tattoo. Really, really cool experience.
Yeah, it's such a badass tattoo.
Yeah. The guy that gave it to me doesn't even know anything about NASCAR, really. He used to watch it a little bit back in the day, but that's about it. And I kind of told him a little bit. He's like, dude, that's an awesome first tattoo. And that's a non-NASCAR fan saying that. So.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, pretty cool experience. Was my first one. I'll definitely get more, but this one's always going to be meaningful. So.
Yep. And dude, like I said, tattoos are an addiction. So you're going to want more and more.
I was driving home already planning my next one.
Yeah. Good man. All right, so then we get Brad Keselowski going on to win stage 2. Some big points for the number 2 team. And Denny Hamlin goes on to win Pocono. He holds off Kevin Harvick, and he ties Jeff Gordon for the most wins at Pocono with 6. So Denny Hamlin's becoming Mr. Pocono, man.
He had the best car both races. Kevin Harvick might have won the first race, but Denny Hamlin was faster than him in that race. So, yeah. Good weekend for Denny, that's for sure. And another good weekend for me in the back for your crew.
Yeah, dude, you are up $140 right now.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy.
Yeah, good week for Nick making that money, and good week for the gambler and the gambler's picks, helping other people make that money. That's 2 weeks in a row I got one right, so we're rolling, boys. Look at the Stock Car Spectacle boys doing it out here.
Oh, hell yeah. And to finish off this review, we had a little action going on with Boyer and Bowman going toe-to-toe, battling out, beating and banging each other for 7th place. But that was an awesome battle.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, something we talk about all the time. I mean, with the way the playoffs are and things like that, a win pushes every non-winning car a spot back, basically. That could very well be for Mr. Boyer a point that keeps him in the playoffs. So, they don't have a win this year. He's I think 12th in points coming out of somewhere in that kind of ballpark. He has a bad race or two. Next thing you know, he's 14th, 15th, 16th on the bubble. So every point's big, every spot's big. So maybe a little much beating and bang into the line, but definitely not gonna knock it either. You do what you got to do.
Every position matters. Every point matters in today's society. So yeah, that was good racing at the end.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's right.
So,
right.
And one quick thing to add, once again, guys, if you live in an area that has a drought, that you need rain, schedule a NASCAR race. This is getting old. Got dominated by Mother Nature. Kevin Harvick won on Saturday. Denny Hamlin won on Sunday. Mother Nature won on both days again. So getting to be freaking ridiculous. We could run in the Sahara Desert and get a monsoon.
Yeah, I didn't even want to mention the rain because I know everyone's just sick of hearing about it. So I didn't even want to mention it in this race review. Oh, my God. It's just becoming such a pain at this point.
Yeah.
It's like if we don't get rain at Indy, then it's not even going to feel like a normal NASCAR race at this point.
Well, right now the forecast says no rain, but it'll pop up.
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, they didn't have rain until Sunday morning in the forecast. So.
Yeah. Oh, my God. But I think that'll do it for us with the Pocono race review here at the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinzel.
Guys, make sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all podcast platforms. Make sure to check out our buddy Patrick Cotto with the Cotto's Mojo podcast. He's got a great Chicagoland-based sports podcast. And make sure to check out our friends at Ashland Heddens Racing. They should be starting a race here pretty soon at Grundy County Speedway. So make sure to check out their YouTube channel and all their social medias. So that'll do it for us. Thanks for watching, guys.